Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Davis, and welcome to the Spark Change broadcast, where we hope to connect, inform, and inspire you to create positive change in your life and in your community. If you are watching this during the live stream, please say hello in the chat. And if you have questions, please put those in the chat as well, and we'll answer those after the presentation. So, at this broadcast, I'd like to introduce you to Dan Ross. Dan is the president and CEO of Arts United in Fort Wayne. So, welcome, Dan. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. Thank you so much, Maria. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today.
Well, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to add before we start your talk?
No, I'm just looking forward to sharing a few things from my perspective about arts and culture and the impact it has on our communities, and look forward to sharing with those of you here in the chat today.
Okay, great. There is one thing that I want to get out of the way, that there is something that people have to register for tomorrow morning at 9:30. It's the Arts United tour. If they want to take a tour before all the big things happen to the building, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning it. We are doing a public tour tomorrow morning at 9:30, and you can register through our website. But this is one of the last public tours we're going to have before we shut the building down for a major expansion and renovation that we've been planning on for quite a few years. And we're planning to break ground in June and start the expansion and modernization of the Arts United Center. And yes, so we wanted to invite the public to come take a tour tomorrow morning if they're interested, before we shut down, and see it before, so you can enjoy it even more after.
So I've got a question. How long do we have to wait until the new renovations are completed? Approximately how long? I know
Yeah.
construction is remarkably flexible, shall we say?
Well, yeah, it can be, but I will say we're looking at a 15-month construction period. So we're looking starting construction in June of 24 and being finished by the fall of 25.
Oh,
And we're
exciting.
working with the Hagerman construction team, and they've been just fantastic to work with. And yeah, we're excited about getting this kicked off and getting opened back up in the fall of 25.
Okay, we look forward to that. And without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and let you talk about art, because you got to have it, right?
Fantastic. Absolutely.
Oops, let me switch places with you.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, Maria, thanks again so much for inviting me to be here. What I wanted to talk with you about, since Maria provided this opportunity, was arts and culture and the role it plays in connecting people to places and building better communities. And I think that's what this series of conversations that Maria has put together are really all about. And arts and culture plays a really important role in building better communities. Arts helps define a community's personality. The arts bring diverse people together. We enrich people's lives through these lived experiences. Regular arts education raises student participation and their performance level. And then arts are an economic driver, creating a place that is attractive to talent, and a place that's attractive to talent is attractive to business development as well. So I want to share with you just a little bit about my background and what has brought me into this role. I currently have the pleasure of serving as president and CEO of Arts United, but I began my work as a professional musician. I played the trumpet professionally for about 45 years, starting in 1979, and retired from that role about a year ago. But I moved to Northeast Indiana in 1983 to play trumpet for the Fort Wayne Philharmonic. And in that role, I've traveled throughout Northeast Indiana, performing in schools and community centers and nursing homes and uh, uh, holiday pops concerts and July 4th concerts throughout Northeast Indiana, and have really learn to value what those shared experiences bring to the communities where the Fort Wayne Philharmonic visits. And that has always been attractive to me. I ended up joining the staff of the Fort Wayne Philharmonic in 1989. And so I spent 20 years on the operations staff of the Philharmonic in a variety of roles: the orchestra personnel manager, director of operations. I was our interim executive director for a year, and then our chief operating officer, a general manager role that responsible for artistic planning and concert productions. At any rate, and in those roles, I really began to get that sense of the importance of the work that the Fort Wayne Philharmonic did in serving our community. For me, it was a transition from the personal satisfaction that I would receive as a performing artist sitting on stage. But really, what's important is how does the work of the Fort Wayne Philharmonic serve the community and the people of the community that we serve? So in 2009, I moved to Arch United. The executive director of Arch United at the time, Jim Sparrow, asked me to come to be director of community development. And what I will tell you is that in 2009, the idea that an arts organization had a director of community development was a pretty revolutionary idea that wasn't typically thought of as a role for an arts organization to be engaged in community development. Today, that's not the case. 15 years later, what I will say is that in this region of Northeast Indiana, and certainly within Fort Wayne, our elected officials, our economic development leaders, they see the role of arts and culture as an essential component of community development, that this truly is one of the economic drivers that attracts talent, that attracts business development. Greater Fort Wayne Inc. Surveyed businesses, and they found that an attractive downtown was one of the most important factors to 90% of the businesses that they surveyed, and that arts and culture were an essential component about an attractive and vibrant downtown. And so today we have developed a sense that arts and culture truly are an essential component of community development, an essential component of creating that quality of place that we all want to have in the communities that we're a part of, and that is essential to attracting the talent and the businesses that we need for our communities to continue to grow. I think most of you have seen the statistics that recently came out that Fort Wayne is the fastest growing city of the 100 largest cities in the nation, and that Northeast Indiana continues to be one of the fastest growing regions in the entire Great Lakes area. We have a lot of things that we're doing well here in Northeast Indiana, and I think those are things that we can be proud of and that we can celebrate. I'm proud of the fact that our arts and culture community is contributing to that effort. We're frequently touted as a region that has excellent arts and cultural amenities, offerings for the citizens of our community. I'm proud of that fact. And I think that's one of the things that, in fact, makes us an attractive place. There was a study done by the Knight Foundation back in 2010, early on when I was getting into community development work. It was called The Soul of the Community. And some of you are probably familiar with that study. It really was kind of a watershed study that got people thinking about quality of place in different sort of ways, and the attractiveness and stickiness of communities, what attracts people to their communities. And that study absolutely indicated that people are attracted to communities that have a vibrancy, that have openness, where diverse people feel welcome and have a sense of belonging. These are all factors that attract people into communities. At Arch United, we did follow-up studies for several years on a quality of place survey for Northeast Indiana. And we did this survey for several years. And what we found was that people were more attracted to the community the more highly they believed in the quality of amenities that they were offered within the community. Arts and cultural offerings, recreational offerings, nature offerings, that people had a higher attachment to the region as they perceived that those amenities were present. But people were even more attached if they regularly participated in those opportunities. And so, what I think is really interesting is that people's engagement with a community, people's attachment to a community, comes not from just their belief that this is a good place to be, but it's by them choosing to actively participate in the life of the community, go to a show, hike a trail, participate in community events. People who participate are much more attracted to the communities in which they reside. Arts United participated just recently in Americans for the Arts' most recent economic prosperity study. And this study was done in 2022, and with results being tabulated in 2023, and the report was distributed in 2023. But this was the first year that Arts United had participated directly in this study. Americans for the Arts has done a study similar to this several times. This was their sixth time to actually run the study. This time, Arts United was made our cultural district, Arts Campus Fort Wayne, as well as the greater Fort Wayne metropolitan area, as target areas, districts that were specifically studied with research done. And so there was a tremendous amount of audience research work that was done, surveys at 50 different events, a significant amount of research that was done. And as well as statistical analysis of the budgets of participating arts and cultural organizations. And some of the interesting statistics that came out of that to me were that this cultural district in downtown Fort Wayne, that is the arts campus, attracts over 725,000 people in a year. And that's a combination of people participating in ticketed events inside buildings, inside facilities at the campus, visiting the Museum of Art, visiting the History Center, but also participating in outdoor events that happen on the arts campus. Taste of the Arts Festival, Art in the Park for the Three Rivers Festival, downtown Fort Wayne's weekly Lunch on the Square events. All of those events that happen both inside facilities at the campus, but also externally on the campus itself. It draws a tremendous amount of people. And I think it's really important to recognize what a driver these arts and cultural amenities are. But again, it comes back to how these arts and cultural facilities provide opportunities for people to come together. And one of the things that I love about the annual Taste of the Arts Festival that Arts United hosts each year, but is participated in by scores of different arts and cultural organizations and individual performers, and craftspeople and individual artists. What we see each and every year is that event is attended by a wide range of diverse individuals, diversity in ages, in skin colors, in ethnic background, languages spoken. And what I love is you can tell by looking at the faces of the people that they feel that they belong, that they feel that this event is for them. And that's really meaningful to me. And I think that's important for our community to provide experiences that truly are for all people, experiences that bring people together. And I think that is one of the magic powers of our arts and cultural experiences, is that they do bring people together and provide an opportunity for different cultures to share their experiences, so that you can learn from different cultures about how was this food processing and culinary art experienced by Native Americans 150 years ago. How are some of those same things experienced by our Latinx community today? or our Burmese community today. And it's really engaging, I think, for many people to be able to not only share your own experiences, but to learn about other cultures and arts, crafts, culinary experiences from a diversity of cultures. Those are the kind of things that you're able to experience through arts and cultural festivals. What I'll tell you is on the economic side, one of the things that we learned from this Americans for the Arts studies was that Arts Campus Fort Wayne generates $40.8 million in direct economic activity. That's a lot of economic impact to the community. And so that's a combination of dollars spent by the organizations who are resident in this campus, but it's also dollars that are brought in by audience members who are participating. You know, audience members who participate in arts and cultural experiences nationwide spend on average about $40 per person per event above and beyond what they pay to buy a ticket to participate. So they're spending money in restaurants, they're spending money on babysitters, they're spending money to go out for a drink afterwards. So these activities that happen in cultural venues, they have a ripple effect on the economy and the dollars that are expanded beyond just those arts and cultural organizations who benefit from it, but all of the ancillary businesses who receive revenue because patrons are coming down and experiencing these things. And typically, an individual who does come and experience an arts event, they do in fact engage in other activities. It draws them to other businesses and supports those other businesses as well. Also, this study indicated that people who have come and experienced arts and cultural events in our community, 87% of those people said that these experiences are part of why they're attracted to this community. There's statistical evidence from significant amounts of research that indicate that people who experience arts and culture are attached to their community, and that strengthens our communities. Well, I want to talk with you just a little bit about Arts United and about the role of our organization in the community. And we have a history that goes back to 1955. We were founded by our community to be a not-for-profit organization as a solution to providing spaces for arts and cultural organizations who needed spaces. At that time in the 50s, we had several fledgling arts organizations, not nearly the breadth of arts experiences that we offer today, but we did have a Fort Wayne Civic Theater, we had a Fort Wayne Philharmonic, Fort Wayne Ballet, we had a Fort Wayne Art School, we had a community concerts organization, and we had a history museum. And so at that time, these cultural organizations did not have the spaces and the resources that they needed to really be able to flourish. And so our community leaders at the time looked at a solution that would be both an economic driver, a community development driver, but also provide a home for arts and cultural organizations in downtown Fort Wayne. And so the vision was to create a campus for the arts in downtown Fort Wayne. And in 1961, our community leaders engaged an architect named Louis Kahn, who is a world-renowned architect. And at the time that Fort Wayne hired him, during the time he was working with our community, he became recognized as probably the most influential American architect of the second half of the 20th century. Was recognized with both the American gold medal as well as the British gold medal for architecture. So he was just a remarkable talent that our community brought in to develop this arts campus. And the concept was just really bold thinking. And this was very bold thinking by our community leaders to create a campus for the arts in a space that had been a blighted area of downtown, um, a lot of older buildings that had fallen into disrepair. And our community leaders wanted to build upon arts and culture as a tool and as a resource for the community. Well, when they were envisioning this, Lincoln Center in New York City was literally just being envisioned, and construction had just started on the first buildings of Lincoln Center on the Philharmonic Hall. And I just think it's so forward thinking of our community and really bold thinking to say, hey, that project that New York City is doing, they've got John D. Rockefeller working with Mayor Moses in New York City on developing Lincoln Center. Our community leaders said, let's do that in Fort Wayne. I love the boldness of the thinking behind that. And they went to work on it. And so they cleared the land, all of the land from in downtown Fort Wayne, just north of Main Street and south of the train viaduct, and then from Clinton Street to Lafayette Street. So currently where the Arts United Center, the Museum of Art, and Fryman Square exist today, all of that land was deeded to Arts United. At the time, we were known as the Fine Arts Foundation. But all of that land was deeded to the Fine Arts Foundation with the intention of creating this campus for the arts. So they engaged Louis Kahn and began doing the fundraising for the project. And Louis Kahn began doing his design work and came up with this large campus that included a performing arts center, a large symphony hall, an art museum, a history museum, an art school, an administrative building, an outdoor amphitheater, a really big complex. And the price tag that Louis Kahn estimated was about $20 million. And our community leaders gasped a little because at the time they had envisioned $2 million. And so there's quite a bit of magnitude of scale there. So there did need to be some discussions about how they were going to move forward. The project ended up getting scaled back from the entire campus that Kahn had initially envisioned to the one building of Louis Kahn's that we did construct, which is now called the Arts United Center. That's a mid-century modern red brick building that you see on Main Street. It's the home to the Fort Wayne Civic Theater. The Fort Wayne Ballet does their main stage productions. Youth Theater, Fort Wayne Dance Collective, Fort Wayne Philharmonic. Many organizations have participated in arts and cultural activities in this building. It took the community 10 years to do the fundraising in order to build that building. And so construction began in 1970 and the building was opened in 1973. Louis Kahn attended the opening of the building. It was quite a celebration, a week-long celebration for the community when that building opened. But one of the things that I love about this community is that while we weren't able to initially act on all of Louis Kahn's vision to have this campus of the arts, we did, in fact, follow on that vision for the next 50 years to develop a campus for the arts in downtown Fort Wayne. So in the Arts United Center opened in 1973. In 1980, the History Center opened up in the former City Hall, just a block south. And in 1984, the Museum of Art opened up just to the east on the campus, just to the east of the Arts United Center. In 1990, Arts United acquired the Hall Community Arts Center and moved in the Cinema Center, Fort Wayne Dance Collective. And then in 2010, we purchased the what had been the former NIPSCO gas company building right across the street from the Arts United Center and the Museum of Art. And we moved in the Fort Wayne Ballet, Art Link, Contemporary Galleries. In 2014, we expanded this space, put a black box theater on the east side of it. So over this past 50 years, this community has continued to invest in arts and culture. We've continued to build on that vision to have a campus for the arts. And what we have today is truly a differentiator for this community. The fact that you can drive down Main Street and you're driving right through the heart of the arts and cultural district of our community. And this district became designated by the state of Indiana as a statewide cultural district. We are one of 12 cultural districts in the state. We received this designation in 2021. One of the things that the state said to us at the time was that there are many wonderful cultural amenities around the state of Indiana. There is no district that has the density of arts and cultural amenities that we have at Arts Campus Fort Wayne here in downtown Fort Wayne. The proximity of the Our Center for Arts and Culture with the Museum of Art and the Arts United Center and the History Center and the Hall Community Arts Center. This collection of arts organizations has 17 resident or resident performing organizations on this campus. And so it's just a tremendous asset for our region and for our community. It's something that we're really proud of, that is one of those attractions and one of those drivers of the success of our region. Downtown Fort Wayne is a hub of our region here in Northeast Indiana, and this arts campus is the cultural hub of downtown Fort Wayne. And in that respect, it serves our region and serves our region very effectively. So Arts United has a variety of roles that we play in the community. And I want to, just looking at our time, I want to make sure that I talk just about a few of those other things and how they relate to building quality of place in our community and providing for the citizens of our community. So Arts United as an organization has essentially three divisions of activity that we do. I've spent a lot of time talking about the cultural amenities that we manage. We own and operate three cultural facilities, the Arts United Center, the Our Center for Arts and Culture, the Hall Community Arts Center, and managing those properties allows us to provide spaces for arts and cultural organizations at a highly subsidized rate. So we're able to lease office spaces to organizations. We typically charge about $6 a square foot. The large commercial building just to our west, the First Source Bank building, they charge about $25 a square foot, right? And so we're able to provide space for arts and cultural organizations at a highly subsidized rate. We're also able to provide them performance space within our venues at a highly subsidized rate. That allows those arts and cultural organizations to thrive in this downtown location where they're highly visible, easily accessible, but they're able to do that at a price that they can afford. And they're able to focus their resources on their missions. So they have to spend less of their dollars on leasing their space and more of their dollars on providing programming and arts experiences for the people of our community. That's something that we're really proud of. So that's an important division of activity that Arts United does. A couple of the other divisions, though, one of our divisions is our community development division. And in that role, we engage in fundraising activities. We do grant making for organizations. We provide a variety of community events that are related to arts and culture, hosting the Taste of the Arts Festival each year, hosting the Arts United Awards each year. But we also partner with elected officials and economic development leaders in community planning. And we take an active role in the development of community planning. We were designated by Fort Wayne City Council back in the 1980s as essentially serving as that Office of Cultural Affairs for the city of Fort Wayne. Many communities would have a department within the city government that does arts and cultural affairs. In Fort Wayne, Arts United has been given that responsibility by City Council, and that's a responsibility that we take seriously and that we appreciate being given that responsibility and having that partnership with our elected officials and and economic development leaders. Um, I will also say that in many communities, arts and cultural amenities are owned by the municipality. Again, in our community in 1955, our community made the decision to create a not-for-profit entity that owns and operates those arts and cultural amenities. So we have a lot of strong partnerships with um, uh, municipal government, county government, and in that regard, we also are an agent of state government. The Indiana Arts Commission has regional partners throughout the state. Arts United serves as the regional partner for arts and culture in Northeast Indiana. And in that role, we're kind of the direct link between the state government in Indianapolis and the people of Northeast Indiana experiencing arts and cultural opportunities. So, grant requests that go to the Indiana Arts Commission from Northeast Indiana come through Arts United. We put together grant panelists from throughout our region who evaluate those grant applications and make recommendations to the state on how state dollars are distributed to support arts and culture in Northeast Indiana. So we have, through our community development division, we have a variety of ways that we interact with local government as well as through private foundations and private donors. And then finally, the third division of our activity is our member services division. And in that role, Arts United supports other arts and cultural organizations through shared resources. We have a shared health insurance plan that serves 23 different organizations. As you can imagine, a small arts organization who only has one or two employees, difficult to find affordable health insurance for those employees. Arts United is able to manage a program that we're able to invite arts and cultural organizations to participate. That enables us to keep those costs relatively low and simply to be able to provide that service for the employees of arts organizations. We also provide other kinds of insurance, general liability insurance, dental and vision, some of those things. We recently started a shared 401k program. Again, that's an employee benefit that helps arts organizations be able to attract and retain their employee base. So we recently started that. But one of the other shared services that we manage on behalf of the community is the ArtsTix Community Box Office. And we founded this about a dozen years ago so that you could have a shared resource for organizations large and small to have access to professional box office staff and full-time online access to ticketing software. And that has become a real service to now we have 14 different organizations who sell their tickets through our box office in 15 different venues throughout the region. And last year we sold 68,000 tickets on behalf of 14 different organizations in these 15 different venues. And again, it allows a smaller arts organization to have access to a full-time box office staff so that their patrons who they may only have 3 or 4 events in a year. Well, clearly they can't afford to have a full-time box office staff. It doesn't make any sense. But yet their patrons have access to that. And they can reach out to our box office staff during normal box office hours, or they can go to the website, where they have 24/7 access to purchasing tickets. And that has allowed us to share the costs, share the resources, but also cross-pollinate, so that a family who has a student in Fort Wayne Ballet and is going to buy a ticket to a ballet performance, they might also look over and say, oh, hey, here's Fort Wayne Youth Theater. Gosh, maybe we should explore that as well. And so we found that there's an opportunity for cross-pollination between those organizations as well. So those are the 3 primary roles that Arts United engages in to serve the community. And so for us, we feel that we serve the community in a variety of ways. We bring organizations together through our member services division. Our regional arts council serves 46 different organizations throughout Northeast Indiana who come together to participate in professional development offerings that we provide, um, trying to make sure that we're building strong arts and cultural organizations. But also, our goal is to make arts and cultural experiences available to everyone in Northeast Indiana every day. That is our vision. We want to see these arts and cultural experiences available to the people of our region. And we want to strengthen partner arts organizations to do that. And we want to facilitate those opportunities in the variety of ways that we can through the services that we offer. And just to close my comments, I would just like to say that I think participation is such an important part of what everyone does who is a citizen in Northeast Indiana. And I mentioned before that people who are attracted to their communities tend to be the people who believe in their communities, but also who actually actively participate in the offerings that their community have. And so I think participation is one of the most important things that anyone can do. And what I will say is participation in community events of any kind. I believe that people's lives are enriched by the arts experiences that they live. I also believe, though, that engaging in your community at a PTA meeting or at a community festival, I think being a part of those discussions, or a discussion that happens with your town council when you're exploring opportunities and directions that your community is considering, I think showing up and participating is one of the most important things that people can do. And the other thing I will say is that finding allies is really pretty easy to do if you'll just look. Because I think if you are engaged in trying to build a better community, and I'm confident that anybody who is participating in this program that Maria has done such a wonderful job putting together, I think anybody interested in this is in fact interested in helping to build a better community. And you will have countless allies in those efforts. And I think we serve our communities better when we work together, when we seek out the allies and look for commonalities, look for shared interests, and see how those things can align. I can say in my work in community development for Arts United these past 15 years, I have found that elected officials are incredibly open to having conversations. They believe in the value that arts and culture brings. They're wanting to build better communities. That's what we want to do too. And they're happy to look at an ally relationship with you. And the same thing with economic development leaders, the same thing with corporate leaders. Leaders of businesses in our communities want to be a part of a thriving community. They welcome these conversations, as do our foundation leaders. And so I would just encourage everybody who's engaged in these conversations that Maria's put together, to look for the allies and participate. And so with that, I think I have talked probably longer than maybe I was scheduled to. But so, Maria, I'd love to just open things up for questions if there are questions, or turn it back over to you.
Did you want to show your video, or did you want to wait till later?
Do you feel like we have time to do that?
Yeah, we have time.
Okay, I would love to do that. Let me just set this video up briefly. I thought I may have talked too long to have time to show that, but this is a video that we put together related to our campaign as we're seeking to expand and modernize the Arts United Center. This is a big project that we're working on. And we're excited that we're going to be breaking ground this summer after years of planning. But this video, these are the voices of many, many individuals who are engaged in arts and culture in this community in a variety of levels, as volunteers, as performing artists, as arts leaders, as donors and supporters of these activities. So at any rate, Maria, I'd love it if you would share this. It's about 4 minutes. It's not super long, but it gives you a lot of perspective about the variety of people who come together to make a community thrive.
Okay, let's go.
I just think story is so important. It presents so many different points of view. That's where we get our compassion in life, is that we learn other people's story.
The arts provide us opportunities to be educated, to be entertained, to expand our world vision, to learn about other cultures.
I'll never forget just being mesmerized by this show. Your parents might take you to like Blue's Clues Live at the embassy, but there's just something about this community show that you watch. These people that are just in your town doing the show completely for free, and they're putting their heart and soul into this. I knew that I wanted to be on that stage at some point as a kid.
We can bring together people that act and people that work behind the stage and bring stories to life. What a great thing for Fort Wayne.
This theater is sort of an anchor and is certainly the center of the cultural activity in Fort Wayne.
I didn't know where we would fit in 13 years ago, but now I really can't imagine our lives without being a part of Fort Wayne Ballet.
We nurture souls, we build self-esteem, we create an environment of teamwork, team building, and solving.
It teaches me how to communicate and work together.
A thriving arts community is the heartbeat of the community. We give dimension and shape, diversity, and all of those things are critical.
I did my first show here when I was 15, just 2 years after the building was built. It was exciting, and the building was brand new.
The fact that it was designed by Louis Kahn and people from all over the world have actually come to see this building. What a treasure we have here.
It's a great building, but it's a building of its time from 1970. At 50 years of age, it needs some work done on it so that we can go the next 50 years.
It's about access, and theater is truly for everyone. Right now, in its current format, people with a physical mobility issue or impairment aren't really able to participate fully.
We have had to carry a stage manager who was wheelchaired all the way up those stairs to have access and participate in our shows. We won't have to do that anymore.
A lot of people that are able to give their time as a volunteer might be a little bit older or retired or whatever. And we really need a way to be able to get them into the building and maybe not have so many stairs and just, make the bathrooms accessible, all those things.
People look at this campaign as a building campaign, a campaign specifically to renovate a building, but it's really an investment in the community and its people.
We're going to be very true to Khan's ideas. We're going to retrofit the light fixtures. We're going to see this building kind of in all of its initial glory.
The demands on the industry and the technology now, and part of that renovation, is key to keeping up with today's standards.
The technology is pretty outdated. The building was opened 50 years ago and not much has changed in that time. We have a lot of updating to do.
The plan is not just to preserve the building, but to bring it into this century and to make it support the arts community in a more holistic way than what it does today.
We're leaving a legacy. We're continuing these programs so that they'll be here for the next 20, 50, 100 years.
It's amazing what we have here.
And I think you have to really look at it and say, I want more organizations to be able to use that same great resource, that same great space.
We've all seen just in the last 5 years a tremendous change, in the people that are moving in, that are staying here. And I believe we need to support that, and I think arts is a big part of that.
You're not just investing in an organization, you're investing in our future leaders. That's what this campus does. It builds pillars in the community. It builds upstanding adults.
This building was built by the community, for the community, and should represent the community.
Okay. That was great.
Thanks for taking the time to show that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're running into some time a little bit, but there was a question basically about how does an individual artist in smaller rural cities, how can they promote, and I think you answered that by being involved in their community. So that was the big thing.
Yeah,
So
I think that's a great question. And yeah, I agree. I think engagement and seeking allies and seeking opportunities. There are people who will be your allies and want to help support you. And there are grant opportunities, again, through the Indiana Arts Commission and a variety of places that you can seek funding opportunities as well.
okay. So I think we're going to have to wrap this one up.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. And I'm going to have to jump on the next stream real quick. So we'll say
Okay.
goodbye here. Thank you again.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye. And if you like this content, please like and subscribe to the Folia Nova YouTube channel. And you can sign up for updates for Spark Change and Folia Nova and let us know what topics you would like covered. And with that, let's all work together to make the world a better place. Thanks for watching.